Welcome to the Hard Knocks podcast, where we dive deep into the door-knocking industry, the grind and the grit it takes to succeed. This is the show for the ones who've been told no more times than they can count, but keep showing up anyway. My name is Jay Miller, and with me is my co-host,
Naaman Taylor, y'all.
Yes, sir. And we're here to share stories, raw lessons, and the kind of insight you only get from being in the trenches. So let's get into it. We have a very special guest today, Adam Bensman. If you have not heard of him, you are living under a rock or a bridge, and you need a career in roofing. He is the roof strategist. He's somebody I've looked up for a very long time, too. He has a huge organization, Roofing Solar Reform Alliance, it's really like a mastermind for roofing, pretty much. Would you say that?
I'd say that's 1/4 of what it is. But yeah.
The best way I could describe it.
Real quick before you continue,
yeah.
if you're living under that bridge, DM me roof.
DM me bridge.
Those guys typically make it.
For real. Yeah, so I want to jump in really quick because my phone locked and I lost that little outline. So Adam, I only know a little bit about this. Before we dive into more things that are roofing related, I really like to understand the origin of how you got into this. I've seen pictures on Facebook one time of like stuff you were going through as a child, and I was like, oh shit, like his story is a lot deeper than, hey, I was broke, down on my luck, got into the roofing game.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, dude, I love how deep you went. Most people don't go this deep. So
Jay did his homework.
right? You want to go deep.
Yeah, let's go.
I just feel weird sharing my story because everyone's got a story, and I feel like whatever it is that we go through as a human in childhood is what will either set you up for a life of crazy success or a life of crazy suffering.
Yeah.
And then maybe a life of crazy success that leads to more suffering.
Yeah.
But it's often at the root of a struggle. And I have a belief, as I get into this story, just to tee this up, that what we experience as a child often leads to our superpowers. So I grew up in a household with some pretty serious mental health struggles, and I was the child that was like the forgotten child,
Yeah.
And in an emotionally volatile household, I learned how to observe human behavior to predict when I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I write about this in my book, The Roofing Sales Survival Guide. You can get it on Amazon, Audible. Go to adamsfreestuff.com for a free copy. But in that time, like I write in the book just a memory. We all have these memories, right, that stand out as a childhood that kind of signify the stuff that you're going through. But I remember being in my room and hearing, fists go through doors and screaming and all this stuff, and like that was my way to like hide out.
Yeah.
And as a result of growing up in that type of environment, I could observe
Were your parents alcoholics or
No.
Okay, just
Yeah, do me a favor real quick before you go
Yeah.
into that. Like, paint a picture of your family, like brother, sister, mom, dad.
Yeah.
What's the dynamic? So we all have context.
Context. It was me, my brother, and then both my parents. My parents didn't divorce, so I was later in life. And my brother was going through a lot.
Is he an older brother?
Yeah, older brother.
Okay.
Older brother going through a lot. And I love my brother, and I didn't talk about this for a while because it made me feel like I was like exposing him as a human.
Yeah.
And I love my brother dearly. And it was for a long time, man, like going through stuff. Of course, I had my frustration, resentment, like, he was going through so much more than I was, but I was I experienced a different level of struggle because of it.
Yeah.
And for many, many years, I never processed it. I didn't talk about it. I didn't realize how much of that feeling of I'm not enough, you know, as my parents would turn to support my brother in time of need.
What was
Very
he? What was
frequently.
he? What was he going through?
He was going through some pretty serious mental health
Okay.
struggles.
Okay.
And it became the center of our life,
Gotcha.
you know.
Mm.
So
What was he diagnosed with, if anything?
it was a combination of things. Yeah, it was a lot. And to be fully honest, I don't know all of it because we didn't talk about it.
Mm. Was it something he was born with or something that developed over time?
They don't, I mean, it's like nature and nurture. They don't really know. I believe that from my understanding, this is largely chemical, you know. This is things that you are unfortunately born with, with genes that aren't the best,
Yeah.
you know, in that respect. So that played a big role in my childhood, and I had a deep feeling of I'm not enough, I'm not important. And at the same time, learned like as household tension grew, because my brother and my mom, they went at it like pretty hard.
Your mom and your brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was all like, I look at this now as an adult, which we'll get to the kind of the other side of it. I'm grateful for it now, but I didn't used to be. And because of that dynamic and them going at it, I could predict from both of them like when shit was going to pop off.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, and then I played peacekeeper all the time because like life was fucking great when everything was easy. And like there's peace in the house. So like I was like, how do I keep the peace? I'm like, I know you. I can read you. I know what's going on. I know what you're upset about. I can figure out what you need, and then what you're saying isn't landing with what you need to hear. But I can be the filter for you.
Right.
So I learned my superpower of being an observer, predicting behavior, reading body language, and understanding people from the point of as a witness, like what you say and why that's not working. And then how I can become, I played that role as middle person for decades.
That was the beauty of your struggle.
Oh, absolutely.
The skills you learned in that pain.
And now, you know, I'm working with a coach myself, mindset coach. And we talked about this at dinner last night. And leading up to this, like I had some frustration with my brother because I felt guilty that I was, you know, like frustrated with him. You know, you're the one that's going through shit.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, dude, what about me? You know,
Right.
like I had my shit too. Like it's not just about you, and that's not what anything he ever said. But
It's like the troubled kid gets all the attention.
yeah, in a way,
Yeah.
a way, you know. And my brother is freaking smart. Like
Yeah.
he kicked ass in school. He was a fantastic soccer player, and I was like the young. I won't say dumb, but dumber.
Wasn't my brother.
I was not. You know, he was like, you know. Anyway, school wasn't my favorite thing, and then I remember being out on a run. I was out running in the mountains. I don't think I've ever shared this story, but I talk to myself. I go out and run in the mountains or in the middle of nowhere or ride my bike, and I talk to myself.
Yeah.
And I learned, by the way, there's a book by Peter, I think it's Peter Drucker, How to Manage Oneself. Fantastic read. It's 45 minutes on Audible. Like that's the book, 45 minutes. Some of the best, most impactful 45 minutes you'll ever listen to. And in the book, Peter Drucker talks about knowing yourself and how you learn and how you process. And I never thought through, like, how do I learn? And I realized I learn by talking.
Yeah.
So, like, with my team, I have to integrate information. That's why when we were talking last night, I journal because it's like I take notes. When I read books, I have a folder for each book, and I write notes or I'll dictate notes, and then I go back and I reread them, and then I tell someone about the book.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I call it education through communication.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's a great way to.
I'm exactly the same.
quote-worthy
I have to
person,
talk
dude.
about it.
Yeah.
That's why me and Jay work so well together. We just talk about all this stuff
Yeah.
all the time, and we educate ourselves. So you're running in these mountains. This is recent, or
This was probably like a year, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm running and thinking through all this stuff, and I knew like I had some baggage to work through, and I just started saying to myself, I forgive you, with my brother's name. Like, I forgive you. And I just kept repeating it. And dude, I broke out. I like started bawling. And I was like, and then I kid you not, right after that, I was like, oh, done. Good. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, it was like,
Yeah.
we're through it, you know, and instead of getting fixated on it. And my relationship with my brother, we're super tight. We went through a period where we grew apart for like 12 years, and it was reconciled through challenging conversation like this.
Didn't you have like? Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw on Facebook you were on some kind of walker or something. Was wrong with your legs or something?
I broke my back. So
Okay.
I had a major spinal surgery. I was 12 years
Tyson.
old.
Yeah, you were young.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, I saw it and I was like, holy
Yeah, I
shit.
put that post. I don't post a whole bunch. I'm not great on social media, but that is a story I put up.
Well, that's debatable.
I guess I
Adam
did build-
Bensman, I'm not great on social media.
Let me change
Quote unquote.
I am. When I said I'm not great on social media, I mean personally.
Okay.
Same. What I mean by that is like I'm not someone who posts all my personal stuff up there, and it's not for lack of desire. I love social media for business, but I have a very tight lane I like to play in.
Yeah.
And I kick ass on other elements of social media, but like for me, going on my personal Facebook page and posting shit when
I'm the same. My story ain't for all y'all.
I'm not consistent. But yeah, so getting back to that, here I am, 12 years old, and I'm telling my mom, like, I got back pain. And when you're 12, you're back pain. They're like cute.
Oh, you're growing. You're growing. It's a growing pain.
So
your parents don't want to take you to the hospital.
So I'm, and at this point in my life, like biking was everything. I BMX biked everywhere, and I was skateboarding. I sucked at skateboarding. I was really good at biking though, and playing lacrosse, contact sports, all the fun, bro-y,
Young man
aggressive
stuff,
that was like violent and aggressive. So anyway, I'm telling her
deep-seated issues.
Yeah, right. I'm telling my mom, I'm like, I got back pain. She's kind of brushed it off, and it wasn't out of lack of love. It was just like, you're 12,
Right?
You don't have back pain. And it got to the point where I literally could not stand for 5 minutes without extreme amounts of pain. And then the pain started going down both my legs. I'm like, my feet are numb, my legs are on fire, and I was like, I couldn't get through. I vividly remember right before getting into the doctors, I couldn't do a round of mini golf with my friends. I couldn't stand up at the hole to play mini golf, and I had to lay down and I get up. It was excruciating. So they start bringing me in because back pain for kids not normal.
Yeah.
First person, some quack ass chiropractor, who's like, yeah, we're just gonna do here's my prescription package of 15 of this thing, and he's like, we'll do this. Which, by the way, I found if I went to him, I'd be in a wheelchair right now. True story. True story.
Hook you up with these quick corrections.
Yeah, which then I ended up in, I think, getting like 12 to 20 consults with different people.
Wow.
And what ended up happening is I had I wouldn't say rare, but a lot less common. It's called spondylolisthesis, where your vertebrae is congenitally weak and then usually gets injured in some sort of accident, but you don't notice it. And then what happens, so your vertebrae, when most people break a vertebrae, it'll crack. Mine cracked horizontal. So L5 cracked. Imagine this is your vertebrae in two pieces. And then one side starts slowly shifting. And what it does is it pinches your spinal column. So the nerve damage I was having was because my bones were actually beginning to bite into my nerves down my legs. And they graded on the scale of 1 to 5. 5 is you're in a wheelchair. I was at a 4.5. So once they find this out, they go, you can't be on a roller coaster. You can't skateboard. Yeah. You can't do anything because if this moves anymore, you won't.
You were like the kid from Breaking Bad.
Which one's that? I watched Breaking Bad. I used to live, by the way, in Albuquerque.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Which Walter White's son, he's like with the fucked up legs and he's on the thing. I'm like 4.5 sounds like that's right before wheelchair.
Yeah, but if you looked on the outside, you wouldn't know it,
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're like, you got to go in for surgery, and it was supposed to be this is in 99 actually. And they were...
You were 12 years old in 1999.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
What does that mean?
Nothing.
Do I look older or younger? Everyone thinks I'm like 12 years old. Everyone's like, you're 38?
Aren't you 12 right now?
I know. Dude, if I shave my little boy beard, I get ID'd for non-alcoholic beer. This is true. In Colorado.
They're like, all right,
I get
dude,
Heineken
come on. Where's where's your parents?
Like, dude, it's non-alcoholic beer, and I'm 38. So in 1999, they had just developed the technology for hardware in your spine. So they're like, hey, you'll come in.
Like new breaking technology just for you.
You're going to come in. We're going to do the surgery. There's a 90% chance you'll be walking out of here tomorrow. And I was like, this is great. There's a 10% chance you won't be, and that path really sucks. I opened my eyes after an 8-hour surgery, and I go, did they get the hardware in? And they said, no. My dad still, when he tells the story, cries.
Oh, my God.
So I was the 10% that didn't.
Of course.
Because my bones weren't strong enough through puberty. So what they had to do is they had to literally scrape bone from my femur and do a bone fusion from S1, L5 to L4. So my whole back got fused. And it required, I had to be in a bed in a full body brace for 2 months. So when I say in bed, I mean you're shitting in a pan.
Yeah.
You know, I had a cast that permitted 30 degrees of movement, and that's it. So for my legs, 30 degrees, by the way, is like here to here. Like that's enough.
Did they have to strap you to that plywood?
Yeah.
My mom had a fusion, and I remember her coming home in the back of a pickup truck, like laying on plywood.
Yeah.
And then when they walked her in, there was a piece of plywood strapped to her, and she was bedridden.
Yeah, I had to be. All my doctor's visits were in an ambulance because that was the only way to do it. So I had two months in bed rest at home. I spent 8 days in ICU because they have to monitor you, and it's freaking miserable. And then 2 months on bed rest, and then another 6 months in a back brace. Then I had to learn to walk again because your muscles atrophy like that. So that was a picture I put up. Taking my first steps after 2 months. And what people don't realize, like 2 months doesn't sound like a lot, but when you don't move, like I broke my ankle later and I had my ankle in a cast. I took it off. It was 6 weeks and my calf looked like my wrist.
Like
and
Bambi all over again.
I was like,
learning how to walk.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Which is funny, another biking accident. So looping back, I ended up, my prediction, I remember taking a really bad crash on my BMX bike, jumping at a skate park, and I lost my footing. My spine came right down on my cross member of my bike. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was that started it. But I missed a year of school and I had a 2-year recovery. Like I couldn't do contact sports. So I missed like all of, was it 6th or 7th grade? So I think it was 7th grade. And then, for
7th and 8th. Yeah.
And then for the next 2 years, I couldn't do sports. I wasn't in gym. I was like the weird kid that didn't go to gym class.
Like, what's up with this dude?
So yeah, that was really challenging. It sucked, man. But at the same time, like I say, it sucked, but I realized like I can go through anything, you know. And I got to walk again. And there's a lot of people who aren't that lucky, you know. I know, you know, with your military service, I'm sure you know a lot of people who weren't as fortunate and have
there's a lot of Lieutenant Dans out there.
Yeah, way worse shit, you know. So I always feel weird sharing my story because I hear people that are like, I grew up in a really loving house, privileged family. I had some emotional shit going on.
Yeah.
Right. But and there are people that have had things, and it's not a competition like who had it worse, and my parents didn't love me or they were addicts or whatever. But looking back, like, yeah, all that stuff developed who we are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like a bitch because my bicep surgery, I'm like sitting here like, I was like, this is stressful. I can't go to the gym, you know.
He's like losing his mind. I'm like, homie, just go for a long ass walk.
Yeah, right. Go for a walk.
I took him for a walk the other day. He was all riled up in the office. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, let's go for a walk. He's like, all right. And then we go downstairs, and I'm like, let's go to a place and go for a really long walk.
Yeah.
And we went to this place nearby that has like a beautiful creek and just out, and we just walked for like 3 hours.
Like 5 miles. We were just walking, and I'm like, I haven't been on a walk in a while. Like,
I'm an avid walker. I'm like, dude, I like to walk and
Yeah.
think and talk and like
Yeah.
get my thoughts out. And I'm like, this is what executives do. Like, this is the business retreat that for like a half day. You know what I mean?
That's
for
work.
us. Yeah, that was work though.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful. It was a great
love
time.
that.
We need
I love
to
walking.
implement that again because that was a great day. We had a lot of breakthroughs that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
They
was
usually
really
do with space.
So let's spin this back. So,
Mm-hmm.
so you go through this, right? And how old were you when you got into roofing, or when did you get into?
I got into roofing in 2011.
2011.
Yeah,
so
so
what was
in my 20s.
going on?
Yeah.
In 2010, right? Because there's no one just chooses roofing.
No one.
I
So
didn't.
I have spoken on, I think, hundreds of stages, and I've asked people this. Raise your hand if you grew up wanting to be a roofer. And everyone laughs. And then like, I'm not joking in kind of one hand. How many times someone raised their hand? And do you know why?
Their dad was a roofer.
Their dad was a roofer. Yeah. That's it. That's the only reason.
It's the only reason.
So people tell you to do what you're passionate about in life. Yeah. And I think that's the dumbest advice in the entire world. And I say that because I did that. And at that point in my life, I got my undergraduate degree in psychology. I didn't want to go to college. I ended up at this school called Neurope University. If you look it up, you'd be like, he went to that hippie school?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my school was founded by Allen Ginsberg, the beat poet, and an exiled Buddhist monk. I got an undergraduate degree in psychology, which was basically sitting on a meditation cushion, which is, by the way, probably the best way to study psychology because you study yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like the furthest thing from school that school can get. I almost dropped out like 4 times. I remember...
You almost dropped out of not school.
I almost dropped out of not school 4 times.
Why do I feel like this place was like they were popping psychedelic mushrooms?
Because they were.
Okay.
Because we were, and I still almost dropped out.
And so let me rephrase. I have not. I've actually never done psychedelics.
Okay.
Alcohol was my choice. And I'm sober now, but anyway, yeah. Everyone.
Get you there.
I remember being at a party once, and someone looked at me, and I was like, "You're not right." And they're like, "My friends dropped like 40 drops of acid in my ear while I was sleeping," and I was like, "I didn't know you could do that." She was trying to climb the gutter of a 3-story building to crawl into a window. And I'm like, you're on acid. And she was tripping. I don't remember how many. I don't know anything about acid. I don't know how many. It was a lot. It was way more acid than someone should ever take.
Yeah. One is too much.
But I think she was tripping for literally days. So I went to a really, really weird school way out there. But I got into natural medicine in this journey of mine, hooked up with what I will now call like a quacky practitioner.
Okay.
But even though it was quacky, it changed my life.
Yeah.
I was going through some emotional stuff and some health things, and it helped. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna study this stuff. So during school, I start going through this other natural medicine modality, and I'm like, oh, this stuff's awesome. So I go to the New Mexico School of Natural Therapeutics, and I study massage therapy, polarity therapy, reflexology, and all these other things, including colon hydrotherapy. So for those that don't know, that's professional butt flushing.
Yeah.
And now
colon hydrotherapy.
Yeah.
Professional butt flushing.
Which, by the way, you talk about bonding with your classmates because you have to do clinicals. So
a little tantric massage.
You get real close with the people you're in school with. So literally,
you've had to do butt flushing? You've butt flushed someone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I butt flush a lot of people, my friend. A lot of people. And for what it's worth, after you experience that, you have so much toxins in your intestines.
Yeah.
Especially your large intestine.
From your butt?
From your butt. It actually doesn't come in through your butt. It comes in through your mouth.
Okay.
Believe it or not. It goes out through your butt.
Toxins.
But when you are using water to cleanse it, what's crazy is afterwards you feel like you're on drugs. Your head has this level of clarity that you cannot. I've never been able to replicate that feeling.
Really?
Of just like totally laser focused, totally calm. It's like the most magical thing. Yeah. But for many people,
guess who's getting their butt flushed?
Yeah. So this is the stuff I got into. Now.
Well, hold on. Because I gotta figure this. Because like you have been, I can tell you have been like, you've always been on a personal development. Like you've always been reading books, learning. You're always doing like kind of the natural medicine and all. What was this though? There's something that was like, hey, I want to figure, like, I want to learn this kind of stuff. Like what happened? Like, because did they have you like on Oxycontin as like a 14-year-old boy and you were like, man, these opiates, I'm trying to figure some natural stuff out? Or how does that all start for you?
Yeah.
I
realized that humans, we're nature, man. We're like really, there's magic that makes us work and that heals us.
Absolutely.
And I was so fascinated. I didn't read I was in reading therapy or reading tutor. Like I had terrible retention. I couldn't read a book to save my life. I graduated, into natural medicine. I had a library in my bedroom of more books that I read in 6 months than I did in an entire life. And I'm talking like dense medical text shit. Like probably like 60 books.
You found an interest.
I loved it. I was so curious of like what makes humans heal. And I realized it's not just a pill. And I did, when I had my back surgery, I was on morphine They pulled me, put me on Vicodin. I hallucinated and barfed, and then I went to Advil. What was it, like 3 or 4 days after spinal surgery, and I never took anything stronger than Advil after that.
Good for you. Because I know OxyContin, they were clearing that for kids and saying it wasn't addictive back then.
Dude,
so I'm hearing back surgery. I'm like, maybe that's what spun you into like this natural remedies. But
I was just so fascinated by the whole being, like how all of it fits together. You know, you never would think like cleaning out your colon would help with headaches. Like, no shit.
Yeah.
It makes sense now. So I got really into it. I started a private practice. I knew nothing about business, by the way.
You started a private practice for natural medicine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it didn't go long because I had no clients.
Okay.
So it was.
You weren't the marketer you are today.
No,
that would work. That would work today. I feel like your practice would have worked today. I feel like people weren't open to that back then.
They were, but I was also in the 2 most saturated cities ever. Like I started in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was right by the school. So there's a practitioner on every corner. And then I moved to Madison, Wisconsin, and I was new in town, didn't know anything about business, started the cool name. It was Nature's Energetics. That was my name. I had the cool brochures. I had a beautiful office space, but I had no clients because I didn't know shit about
you didn't know how to run a business.
Running a business. Now, I started my first business at 16 years old. I started a mobile car detailing business.
Hell yeah.
I killed it. I haven't shared this story. 60 Minutes got a hold of it. And they were doing a series on kids that had unique jobs, and they followed me around. I had a film crew in my car watching me work. The episode never aired. They filmed me and a few other people, and I still to this day don't know why. But I have a feeling it might have to do with some of the questions they asked me and how I answered them.
What were some of these? This is.
And then we'll get back to that. They're like, so what inspired you to do this work? I was like, well, I love cars, and I don't want to make a bunch of bullshit money like my friends that are cashiers. So I'm 16 years old making $30 to $100 an hour in like 2007.
Yeah.
Dude, I was killing it.
Yeah.
So all I did, by the way, is I saw a problem. I loved cars. And to get your car detailed meant you had to drive to a shop, which meant you had to have a friend drive with you, and then you had to wait for them to finish it and then get a ride back. And I was like, I'll just come to them.
Yep.
So I was like one of the first people that did this. So I'm calling around at 16 years old to all the car dealerships being like, hey, where do you get your chemicals from? And it was the first time I ever like cold called people. Yeah. And thank you to my uncle, by the way, for pushing me to do this. And I find a guy at a dealership who's like, oh, we source our chemicals from so-and-so. So I call them up. They're like, yeah, we'll meet you at your shop. I'm like, I don't have a shop. I'll meet you in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, it was like, we had like a rendezvous point, and he'd roll up his roll top of his truck, and I'd run in. And I was like, all right, I need some degreaser, I need some leather conditioner, I need this. And I got all these jugs, and I'd pay for it, and I'd load it up in my car. And I put an ad on Craigslist, like mobile car detailing. And I didn't know anything. I wasn't insured. I didn't have a real business. It was just like a kid doing shit.
A lot of business was going on Craigslist back then.
I know, right? So I end up.
You didn't get snatched up.
I did.
Meeting fucking random dudes and rolling up big trucks and hopping in the back of it.
It's kind of crazy now, but yeah, now
welcome,
you think
son.
Of it, right? And then I like wake up in Tijuana or something. Yeah, no kidneys. But I ended up.
World was different.
It was.
Yeah, it was a different place.
I had 2 business sources. It was referrals. I did like my family friend, and they were like, "This was the greatest thing ever. You're cheaper in the detail shop, and you came to me." So she tells all her friends. I end up with accounts. So I go to these wealthy people's homes in Chicago. Dude, it's like, here's my Porsche 911 Turbo. I want you to clean my Land Rover, my Mercedes SLK 55.
This is when you started probably liking cars.
And I was like, this is great. I had a dude who bought a second house for the garage so he could park his Ferrari there. And it was a block from his other house. So he's like, here's the keys. And I don't know if that's the reason he had it, but his Ferrari was parked there. So
Seemed like it.
detailing these cars and stuff. And I'd work like 4 hours a day, and it's all cash.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I take cash.
Yep.
And
only cash, baby.
So, but my point is that was like a lot of luck. I saw a hole in the market, and I was passionate about it, and then I could solve it. And the passion thing's gonna come back in a second, because I was passionate about cars, so I started car dealing. Turns out to be the most boring thing in the entire world, cleaning up people's shit. Yeah. Right? It sucked. And then he'd like clean like a Buick Enclave, and I'm like, you know,
this
I don't
even
even know
cool
if they
car.
made a Buick Enclave then, but you get the idea. I was like doing stupid cars. I love when I was working on Porsches and stuff, because it's like lusty.
It's a nice car.
Yeah. You look back, you're like, oh, that's hot. You know, you're doing this like this Buick.
You're cleaning his car like really good.
Dude, this one guy, like, I'm like, are you farming out of this Buick? There was hay, like, in everything, dog hair. So that got super boring. Like I dreaded going to work. I knew
and
I
you
was
were
making,
doing it by yourself.
Yeah,
you didn't have like any like
no.
Yeah,
It's just me and my car and headphones and like music, you know, and that's it. So that passion went to boring and work. So then I start this natural medicine practice out of college. I didn't know anything about business. I didn't have any clients. That's not true. I had one, maybe two, but it didn't even cover my rent. Right. So I'm like, to make ends meet, I'm gonna go get a job as a massage therapist. Well, massage therapy jobs can pay quite well when you have seniority. But when you're a new kid who just graduated last week, you end up at a shit place, which is where I ended up. I was getting paid $15 per massage. Not everybody tipped. Here's the fun part. You only got paid when you were booked, but you were required to be on site for a 6-hour shift. So I'm not exaggerating. I would drive 45 minutes to work, because the franchise was 40 minutes away, and I'd have to be there 30 minutes early, okay? And then I'd have to be there for a 6-hour shift, because I had to be within, 5 minutes in case there's the walk-in.
Yeah.
And not everybody tipped. So I'd work a 6-hour shift, 7-hour shift. There were days I made $30 because people didn't tip.
Yeah.
So, and this is in 2000.
And you're rubbing dudes' backs.
In 11.
For $30.
All day.
That's tough, dude.
I mean, like all day. So my W-2 for that year, I don't remember the exact amount. It was like $19,006.
You probably would have got tipped if you did a couple butt flushes.
You know, usually if someone doesn't sign up for that, you will not get tipped. You'll get punched. If you could see the devices that are used,
oh god,
we could get into that, but that might get graphic.
That's the viral content right there. I'm getting Andres some good shorts.
Yeah.
That's all.
So I ended up $19,600. So I was making under $2,000 a month. Yeah. My rent and utilities in Madison, Wisconsin was $1,200. And you had to pay taxes. So, and then of course my other expenses, insurance, cell phone, all that. My grocery budget was $4.20 a day, $30 a week roughly. And so I'm not kidding. I didn't go out to eat. Like when I say I didn't go out to eat, I mean I did not go out to eat ever. Like friends went out and I was like,
have fun, y'all.
Catch you later.
Grocery list look like for
shitload of pasta.
Yeah,
shitloads of pasta. And I think it was vegetarian. No, I know I was vegetarian at the time. I don't remember if I was vegan. But it was. I remember like running low on olive oil, being like, "All right, got to start budgeting to get that olive oil next week."
Yeah. And pouring water in the olive oil bottle.
Yeah, thinning it out.
Get the last little bit out.
Dude, it was like,
come on,
mo tussin.
So my family, I was living in Madison. Family was in Illinois, and it was Easter, and I went in every year, and I'm like, "Hey, Mom, I can't come in." She's like, "What do you mean you can't come in?" I was like, "I can't afford to drive there." She had no idea how broke I was.
How old were you at this point?
I was like 20, whatever I am. I'm 38 now, so go back to 2011, whatever year that
14,
was.
24.
24 years old.
Yeah, so like that's a big lesson because a lot of these guys right now, they feel like at 24 they should have all this stuff figured out. Like,
yeah, a lot of people these days feel like everything should come to them without hard work.
Yeah, like they're so far behind, and I'm like 24. Yeah. Adam Bensman just told you at 24, dude, he was eating a shitload of pasta. And had $4 left over at the end of the day. Yeah, like I did a barter at awesome. My gym.
People
need to hear that, though. You know what I mean? Like, because I think there's a lot of people in their mid-20s that are just like, dude, I'm just behind and all. And I'm like, you're just getting started, Bubba.
Yeah. Dude, you're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
Yep. You are.
It's supposed to suck first.
People see your success and they're like, but what they don't see is the 100 failures, the struggle that like, I did a barter with the owner of the gym for a massage, so I'd have a gym to work out at. It's a CrossFit gym, and I chose it close to my house because I needed to. I couldn't drive. I couldn't drive there, dude. Like I had no gas money. So
you were giving the gym owner back rubs.
No, I offered to do like chair massage for his people,
for clients.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big value add.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I mean, I was pretty decently smart getting things going.
Yeah.
So on the drive in, I call my mom. I said I can't come. She says. I'll give you $20. What's funny? I've been like telling this story. I wrote it in my book. She didn't even remember it because she's my mom.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
she's just gonna help.
It's
you.
like $20. She's like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, it was like the turning point. So on the drive in, I call her to say thank you. A 2-hour drive. My stepdad Ron picks up the phone because my parents divorced later in life. I knew Ron was in roofing, but I didn't know anything about roofing. And we never talked work.
Ron.
It was Ron. It was my stepdad, and he goes, Adam, if you're looking to make a change, you can make 6 figures selling roofs door to door. And I first.
That's what he was doing, Ron?
Yeah, he was in roofing. He was managing roofing company and training their sales orgs around, like they had branches. He was in Colorado and helped companies like be the front runner in the metal roofing
This is
world.
how you end up in Colorado.
So,
I had I went to college in Colorado. I just ended up moving back. I love the mountains.
Now we're getting to it. It took 30 minutes to get here.
Right? But that's the fun part.
So your mom gave you $20
to drive to see family.
So, did she like Western Union this money to you?
I think it was like Chase Quick Pay back then.
Chase Quick Pay gave you $20 to get back to the house.
Just to see family.
Family. Ron's in roofing. And he's like, hey, I know
he
you're
had
fucking
retired.
broke.
Yeah, you can make six figures selling roof door to door.
All right.
And
there we are.
He didn't necessarily love it. So he was like, do I tell him about this shit? I don't know if I want him to get into roofing.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I brushed him off. We didn't even talk about it. He just said it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, first of all, that sounds boring as shit. Second, I didn't know that people still did door-to-door sales. I thought that was Kirby Vacuums and religious efforts.
Yeah.
And then 3, roofing, I don't know jack about, so no thanks.
Yeah.
Ron's pitch to you was Jay's first pitch to me.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, you should get in the roofing. I was like, I don't know anything about
you're
roofing,
like,
bro.
no thank you.
Well, he was a huge real estate like influencer. You know what I mean? He had his own deal going. I'm like, he's probably, good. Sometimes, you don't want to offer it and be like, hey, you should get into roofing. My situation might be better than yours. Like, that's what I was kind of making it overcomplicated.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I was like, your first pitch to me was terrible. Because I was like, I don't know. I was thinking he's telling me to start my own roofing company. I didn't realize how cutthroat roofing was. Like, I'm from real estate. It's like everybody gets along. I'm like, he's like, you should start roofing, bro. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't really know anything about roofing. That's what I thought.
So he was trying to sell a business idea to
He
you
was trying to
instead
recruit
of being
me.
like, you should come work for me.
I didn't know it was like low-key recruiting, but I thought he was like, hey, man, you should get into selling this water. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, nah, I don't know anything about water business.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's kind of how Ron's pitch was to you. Like, you should get in the roofing. You're like, I don't know anything about roofing,
And he didn't say should. He's just like, you could. And then I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And then I had 4 hours of driving. At this point, I was looking at doing all the things that everyone that wants to make money is. Looking at insurance, becoming an investment advisor, all the traditional paths. And I brushed it off, but I had 4 hours to think about it. And I was like, can't hurt to look. So I jumped on Craigslist that night when I got home and started interviewing. I learned very quickly this industry is corrupt because I was taught how to do insurance fraud in my first interview, in intricate detail, by the way. Like, it was a training on how to be a criminal. So I didn't work for them, and I ended up joining Jesse Chase's company, who's here. You met him last night at dinner, and I resonated with his values. Like, I was like, this is someone who's in business for the right reasons, and that was the reason I worked. And I never left until I obviously left, but like, my point is, I stuck with one company and worked my way up. Did all the roles, became COO. We had 5 offices in 5 states.
How long were you there with him?
5 years.
Jesse?
Yeah.
It's funny that you said that because when I got into roofing, the first roof I got on, I was fresh out of jail and got this job. And we're on a roof. We're on a stone-coated steel roof. And they're taking a hammer and they're like, bah, bah. And I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I'm like, and they're like, and then the guy comes up to me and goes, how do you feel about this? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know anything.
I didn't even know how to feel.
First off, I had a criminal background, so I'm like, this is kind of like whatever, dude. Like, I was
handle your business, dog.
Handle
Ain't got nothing to do with
you
me.
know what I
That's
mean?
yours.
Like, we need me to turn the cheek. I don't know what's going. He's like, look, we're trying to help and get this thing paid for and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay. He's like, it's for the homeowner. It's for the homeowner to get the roof bought. And I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah,
cool.
like,
The way
I don't know what you're doing.
The way they pitched it to me, it was like we were doing good,
Doing the Lord's work.
dude, this is systemic.
Yeah.
In the roofing industry,
Yeah.
what are they? Is it Peter Pan, steal from the rich, give to the needy? Is that am I mixing?
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Thank you, Robin Hood, not Peter
Modern
Pan.
day Robin Hood.
The Robin Hood syndrome. And then how many salespeople I've talked to that are like, yeah, I was taught to do that. Like, I put up a video on my YouTube channel of one of my YouTube viewers had filmed some roofers creasing shingles and all that. And then I aired it. It's the first time I ever did like a reaction type video talking about it. And the reason I did it was to bring awareness to all the people. You have no idea how many messages I got and people that commented like, I was taught how to do this. I was taught how to do this. And it was all the same thing. Like, it's for the homeowner. And they didn't even realize, like, you will go to jail. And it's not for the homeowner. The guy's got a stone-coated steel roof. There's pretty much nothing wrong with that roof ever.
Yes.
Like, he's fine. You're the one that wants that fact commission from that stone-coated steel roof.
Shit's not for the homeowner. It's for your pockets.
Did you leave that company? I mean, clearly you left that company.
Yes, I did. Yeah, but that was literally how I was taught for the first, like, 6 months. And then I didn't even, and then, like, of course, like, your first 6 months, you're like, okay, this is not right. Like, you know what I mean? They used to have, I mean, fuck it. They used to have a guy that would run the adjuster appointments, and they wouldn't even let us go to the adjuster appointment because he would go there, fuck the whole roof up, fucking put the knuckles on the gutters and all this stuff, and like he would, and it was like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Like let him go there and do this, you know. And then I remember, like some insurance people came into the office like investigators. And
I'm glad.
You know what I mean?
They did that,
and but nothing happened. They caught him on video with a hammer.
Yeah.
On video, nothing happened.
It's so messed up.
But it wasn't. So yeah. So and when I learned that, I was like, man, you know. Because it isn't until you see what real damage is that you're like, oh, like there's a bunch of people who really need our help, though you don't need to do all that, you know? And it is sad because it is systemic in our industry for people to do that.
It's ruining it for homeowners. One of the reasons insurance is so high.
Yep.
And why adjusters don't trust us. It's like, dude, if you just show up and work what needs to be worked, like that's fine. If it's not, you tell the homeowner your roof's in great shape. Call me when you need something.
That's why I tell my guys, man, I'm like, do not even put your ladder up against that roof until the adjuster gets there. Stay in the car. I'm like, do not be up on the roof and all that. I'm like, because
especially where you guys are.
Yes, dude, this is the Thunderdome. I mean, it's like that in Colorado, I'm sure too.
It is. Colorado is a little different because you have to have a license and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a little bit
There's
tighter.
something to lose at least.
Yeah, you know, they put a barrier in. You got to get licensed in the business side, like to do business. So there's a little more bureaucracy, and I'm very anti-government and anti-regulation, and at the same time, because I know this is like hypocrisy, I also feel like it's helpful. Like I think that you should have to be licensed to do this work.
You should have to take a fucking test of some sort to say, hey, I know how to be a roofing contractor. I know business ethics. I know RCAT does that. You can go through the test. And I mean,
good safety for homeowners. Yes. You know, especially where you guys are here in Texas, like mold is a massive health concern.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons people have mold is from a leak.
Yep.
So doesn't it make sense if we're concerned about everything else, you know, that we concerned? That's cute. Well, we should be concerned. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, they have a license for plumbing, license for electrical.
Yeah.
They should have a license for roofing. Yeah. It's the fucking thing that protects your house.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. But let's go back, because it sounds. So you had the entrepreneurial spirit since you were a kid. You did the auto detailing. You start the practice. You get into roofing. You move up. So then, when is the birth of the roof strategist? Because like now, there's this point. You're there for 5 years, right? You start going, hey, like there's a need for training. There's a need for somebody.
Yeah, it wasn't then.
No.
You know what happened when I left roofing? I left.
You left.
I had nothing lined up. I was burnt to a crisp, dude.
Really?
By the time before I was 30 years old, I was in ICU thinking I was having a heart attack. I just spent the night in the ICU. Turns out I had a chest infection. Severe pericarditis, which is basically an inflammation of the sac around your heart. And it was going on for weeks, and I had this extreme chest pain. And at this point, the unglamorous side of the story is I bought a house and then moved our office in Madison right there. So like all this, it was actually finding the office. Then I bought a house. And in 2000, whatever year that was, we were still running on fax machines, man. Like, State Farm wouldn't even accept depreciation unless it was faxed.
Yeah.
ABC, you had to fax your material order and call them and like make sure they got the PO right.
I don't even want to know what those cycle times were like.
Oh, it was insane. And this
looks like we're getting paid next year.
So I moved my office there, and then right after that, there was technology, at least that caught my eye on like call forwarding. Like, wait a minute, we could route all our calls through one office. Wait a minute, we have a CRM now. we don't need all these offices. So I had come up with what I called the company Bible. So I got with all of our offices, everyone's on different paperwork, slightly different. And I combined everything, put it together, and then I was like, we can run this out of one location.
Yeah.
Well, that location was an hour and 45 minutes from me, north. So very quickly after I moved in, I was commuting an hour and 45 minutes to work, hour and 45 minutes home, floating the entire state of Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, and then our Montana office. I drove out to Montana, 20-hour drive. We got so busy. I was there 2 weeks. I'd fly home. I bought a second truck because I didn't have time to drive back.
Yeah.
So I bought another truck, and my chest was killing me, dude. I thought like I was on the drive for hour 45 minutes to the office, and I was this close to pulling over and calling an ambulance. And I'm like a dude, right? Like you are. I'm like, you don't ask for help. Yeah.
I'm straight.
You know, and I'm like,
I die.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, shit's not good.
Yeah.
I get to the office, I run in, I grab Wyatt, who was our general manager. I'm like, bring me to the ER right now. He brings me to the ER, and then I spent the night in the ICU. They're like, there's one of two outcomes. Outcome one, you're totally good. Outcome two, we got to go do an emergency surgery and relieve the pressure around your heart. And I was like, okay, shit. So I spend the night in the ICU.
Sounds serious.
Yeah, it turns out I was fine. I needed to be under observation. But the nurse comes in. She goes, this is often correlated with stress. Are you under any stress? And I was like, honey, sit down, grab a notebook. I was like,
let me tell you about CHOP.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know.
Stress
and I.
practice.
So, and at this point too, like I didn't quit drinking. I think I'm going on 7 years now. But I was drinking.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Drinking every night, not working out, working like 6 days, 7 days a week, eating like garbage. You know the drill.
Yeah.
Well,
So when I had burnt, there was a series of things that happened. I burned out. Like it's that simple.
Yeah.
I burned out. So I left roofing with zero intention on coming back. I was actually starting another brand. I had the logo design and everything called Potential You. I was going to start a personal development brand.
Okay.
I would have totally flopped, by the way, because I didn't know nearly what I know now. I would have fallen flat on my face.
Can we hold the thought of how the roof strategist thing started? I want to back up just a second.
Yeah.
Because I was very intrigued with a few things you were saying. So what was the name of the company again?
The Potential You?
No.
The
one you're
The
working
roofing
for.
company? ARC Contracting.
ARC. And you were the COO.
Yeah.
You were driving so you got all this stuff to work out of one office, right? And you were driving to all these different offices as the COO.
Mm-hmm.
Who were your direct reports? What was your position? What did that look like? Because that's an interesting thing I don't want to push right past.
Yeah. So Jesse was the owner.
Yep.
I ran all of the day-to-day everything.
Mm-hmm.
Out of our corporate office, we had Brian, who was our operations manager. We had another Brian, who was our field manager.
I bet that got confusing.
It did. We had, why am I drawing a blank on his name? He's a pilot now. Anyway, Daryl, who was, he was our runner. So we had a box truck that was always stocked with supplies. So when the crew called at 4:30 and like, hey, we need a box of nails.
Right.
Like there's a shop open.
Here comes this guy, Daryl. Here comes Daryl.
We had office manager, supplement person, assistant for the supplement person, our sales team, our general manager, and that was in our main location. And then each satellite had one manager and then usually a couple salespeople, and then we'd just deploy as needed. So when I'd go to each location, I was popping in there to meet with the manager of that location and get things running the way they should have been running, and then manage the team.
Okay.
And occasionally do recruiting, hiring, all that crap.
Okay.
So that was the main thing. And then as we grew, it was just more high level analysis and running a business.
Spreadsheets, strategic partnerships, all that craziness.
All that stuff. And
what was you guys' best year with you running the operation like that?
Best year? Now, given this is in numbers in today's numbers, if I were to take, because we were selling at $300 a square then, same market, $650. So it's so funny. You're like, back then you're like, I'm $1 million
That's
producer.
what we talked about. $5,000 commission is now a $10,000 commission.
So in today's money, probably $17 million.
Hell yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
And you guys had 5 offices running $17 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what that usually worked, because we were predominantly insurance related, and we also did retail. And the retail was more of a byproduct of the brand, and being, having a strong presence, because we were like the second biggest name in our core office area, Appleton, Wisconsin. The revenue would often come predominantly from one location or two locations.
Yeah.
You know, because you're working strategically. Running cleanup in other areas. And they were strategic locations, so when things hit, you were ready to rock.
Yep.
And you were local. And then we could run pretty much like a skeleton crew there to keep things running smoothly and then running the retail leads that would come in until things boomed.
Right.
Yeah.
So
they never go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Go to
And then it was just
Omaha or
deploy the team, and our crews would travel with us. Like we had a really good operation.
Yeah, something similar happened to us this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So then ARC has totally modified their model. Like Jesse and I were working really hard to not do that because it's so exhilarating at first. You know, you're like, boom. We went out to set up our Montana office, and it was like the most fun for a month. And then it was like, what the hell? Dude, the stories I have, I was joking with Jesse. I remember living in a house, a 2-bedroom house with 8 guys I managed.
Yeah.
You know, and then like we couldn't find housing in Montana. I'm not joking. There were 10 of us sleeping in the office on sleeping pads.
That's crazy.
This is not an exaggeration. There was not a shower there, by the way. It was like we were in the office on the floor.
You were doing.
I was literally working
shit,
and sleeping in my office.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I tell Jay all the time, I'm like, dude, I'm built for that particular job right there. I'm like, I did that I deployed for 12 months straight, 12 on, 12 off, sleeping on a cot in a fucking bunker.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is...
It was nothing.
Like, I'm cool.
Yeah, you're like, we got AC?
And I'm going to make a lot of money doing this?
I know.
I used to make no money doing this.
I'm not getting shot at?
I'm like, yo, my life's not in danger. I'm going to make a lot of money.
Yeah,
I'm cool to sleep on a little cot for a couple weeks, bro.
Yeah.
Shit.
So that was kind of the backstory of that whole thing is the development ended up kind of becoming my Achilles heel.
So you get stressed, really, go to the hospital. You're like, man, fuck this roofing shit. You're like, I'm done.
I was on my honeymoon, and I was reading a book and journaling, and I just turned to my wife. My wife is my biggest cheerleader, and I go, I'm done. And she goes, I know you'll figure something out. That was it. I know you'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So I left,
and
I ended up, I worked with Jim Johnson from, at that point, Roof Coach Pro. So I had hired Jim to do consulting for business. I loved working with Jim. So I jumped on and started doing, I was Jim's first coach. It was me, Jim, and then one other person. And the company was growing. And Jim's a great human being.
Yeah.
We had our differences. We parted ways. It wasn't even a full year. And Jim and I still are, I was actually texting with him not too long ago. So I attribute it now, like I know what it's like to run a company and you have growing pains and you don't know what you don't know. So anyway, all good. We parted ways. That was the second time, like, I'm done with roofing.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, we sold everything we owned because my wife had burned out in her business, in her work. She was in quality assurance as a QA supervisor for a pharmaceutical company and got a promotion that she didn't want because it was a supervisor role. And they just worked her to death. She was bringing work home, working crazy hours. And Pillow Talk was like 3 a.m. crying and stressful. What are we going to do? Yeah. And then I was like, let's go rent a house on the lake for a year because I just started working with Jim remote. She goes, screw it, let's get an RV. I'm not joking. 24 hours later, the house was on the market. We sold almost everything we owned, traded all the vehicles in for a diesel truck and a fifth wheel, and we hit the road for a year. And so I was working with Jim at that point, and then when I left, same thing. Sheena's like, you'll figure it out. And I'd always wanted to be a copywriter. So it was like, I got to do something like that. And I started marketing, or I started wanting to do marketing. But roofing people were getting in touch with me. And when you have no job, you just do what you need to do, right?
Yeah,
so Sheena's like, what do you think of the name The Roof Strategist? It's my wife that named it. And I was like, that's really good.
Yeah.
So again, no joke, like 3 days later, website's up, logo's up. And I just started working with companies one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it was a flat retainer. I meet with you on Tuesdays at 3. Yeah. We meet. I give you some homework. You go do it. We come back. And I got really...
So you're meeting with business owners.
Yeah, one-to-one. Cool. Yeah, and it was all about... Because I had figured out...
What year is this, 2015?
This is probably... 15.
Okay.
15. I'd figured out the business, like how to run a good business.
Yeah.
So I was helping business owners do that. But then I realized what I was really passionate about was developing sales talent. So I'd be like, all right, Naaman, what you got to do with your team is this, this, and this. And then I'd be like, all right, Naaman, next week, what did you do? Yeah. And you're like, shit got busy. And I was like, all right, you're annoying. So I'm going to make videos to get you out of the way because you're not doing your thing. So I started making videos. I didn't know anything about the internet. I didn't know how to upload a video or where to upload them. So I put them on YouTube. I got in touch with my web guy. His name was Dylan. Great dude, Dylan. And I'm like, Dylan.
Shout out Dylan.
Put these on the website and make them all with the same password, roof. So I'd be like, all right, Naaman, I got videos up on my website for you and your team. Log in, the word roof. And they were just embedded from YouTube. And I had got burned out. There's some stories we don't have time for today, but I worked with some really shitty people. Yeah. And it was another burnout. So finally, I'm like, screw roofing again.
Yeah, Dude,
I'm out.
The left arm, the right arm, the left leg. You got one leg, you got a little bit of burn spot left. You got your farmer's tent just cooked everywhere.
For those that,
yeah, you're all burnt out everywhere.
I love it. I love that you keep making fun of me. I forgot about it already. So I leave. I shut down the Roof Strategist, and I just turned my videos from unlisted to public, and I say, I hope they help someone that was in the shoes I was in. And they sat for like 6 months. So at this point, I started another brand called Brain Hickey, and I worked as a direct response copywriter and sales consultant. Somehow I landed one of Oprah's top 50 most influential women as my first client. I ended up, you'll hear more of this today. I worked with some big players. People don't know the story about me. Yeah. I worked with some big players. I helped a very, one of the fastest growing fintech companies completely ideate their product, actually created their offers and trained their writing team. And they're having acquisitions, they're in investment news, all that. I've worked with some authors. I've worked with people who have narrated movies. I've worked with one of the fastest growing masterminds in the Amazon space that went from 0 to 12 million. 12 million in consulting, just for like perspective, is near $100 million roofing company. Yeah. We did that in 3 years. And I wasn't part of it the whole time, but I helped. I wrote their sales page, their sales video, crafted the offer, did the brand identity, the sales process, all that. So while I'm doing all this, and I work with attorneys as well, while I'm doing all this, people start watching my YouTube videos. And they're like, dude, make more. And I looked at my wife, Sheena, and they're like, look at this. This is pretty cool. I thought people would chew me apart.
People like these videos.
They like them. She's like, you should make more. And I was like, this shit's a lot of work.
Yeah.
She's like, just do it. You're helping people. So I had no vision, no product idea, nothing. I just started making videos.
Yeah, your videos just up there by chance.
Yeah. So for the first year, I just made videos. Yeah. That's it, man. I made videos. People liked them, and then one thing led to the next, which led to my first products, which led to the next thing, and I listened. Mm-hmm. So now I'm back in business, roofing for go number 4.
Yeah.
And I had left my last consulting client. Yeah. I left my last consulting client, and for all intents and purposes, it was basically a $200,000 a year part-time. That was one client.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, my brand's growing. The Roof Strategist is growing. I've never shared this publicly, by the way. And I saw the vision of the Roof Strategist. I'm like, hey, I have a real business now.
Yeah.
And I'm task switching in my brain. Every time I had to go write for this client, because I was on a retainer and then success fees, I'd have to take off this hat and put on this other one. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm gonna make more if I go in here. I took a $16,000 a month hit, hired my first team member at $5,000 a month, and started spending, I forget how much, on Facebook ads. So I basically took a $25,000 a month hit. And at that point in my life, $25,000 in a month was a shitload of money. And it's funny, I say that now, and I'm like, yeah, to anyone, that's a shitload of money.
Still a shitload of money.
Right?
I told you yesterday, $1,000 was a lot.
Yeah.
It is 2025, it is still a shit ton.
Yeah, but it's funny in perspective, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm like, I'd take that risk now. Yeah. Cool. But then,
easy.
Dude.
That was everything.
I didn't feel it. 30 days later, I'd made all that back and then some, and was profitable. I literally did not feel it. And I went all in on this brand, and then it exploded. And then I shut down the Roof Strategist, and we launched RSRA because we pivoted to what we're doing.
You've done incredible things for the roofing industry, incredible things for me and my family. I owe you all the praises because out of any roofing trainer in the country, I have referred so many people to RSRA. I've referred people to your videos. Your videos changed my door knocking game, so thank you. It's been a real pleasure to have you on this podcast and even be doing this event here at the office. I had to pinch myself when Naaman showed me the text message. I was like, get the fuck out of here, for real? And he's like, yeah. I was like, man, so I'm super excited. Thank you for everything that you've done for our industry, because not only have you helped me, I'm sure you've helped millions of people in roofing. And you've inspired me to pay that forward too, in the way that I teach and that I coach. Kind of a disciple of Adam Bensman.
Love it. Well,
so thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's an
Thank you
honor,
for
dude.
coming on the show.
Yeah,
thank
thank
you. Listen, just give everybody the handles. It's at Roof Dr. J. You can follow me on Instagram. Yours is it's
at the Roof Strategist.
You haven't burned that one down.
We haven't burned the name down. We burned the company down, but
Okay,
not the name.
not the name. So at the Roof Strategist, and then at Naaman Taylor Investor on Instagram. That's how you can follow all of us. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Got it. That was it.